What's good, everybody? Welcome back. It's ya boys here at T4Ltrade. Nicolas.
And Christopher, what's up, everybody?
What's good, everybody? We're gonna go over the day trading day for the new year, January 2nd, 2024. That was three before. And here you go. And potentially get some gains. Today was a beautiful winning day, and we'll get straight into the strategy section of this video. So, a basic strategy that we're using is support and resistance zones, and then the indicators that I'm using are counter channels, Bollinger Bands, MACD, RSI, and VWAP. VWAP isn't here on this screen because this is the SPX. I don't know why volume doesn't work on the SPX, but apparently you only get volume on the SPY index, which is an ETF. You don't get volume on the SPX, which is the original index. So that's a strategy. We're gonna jump straight into it, and we're gonna get straight into the analysis. So for this beautiful Tuesday day, we had a winning edge, a winning identifying edge, and then we profited off that edge in the following. So for the first day in my last 4 weeks of trading, we saw a gap down. So Friday, when the market closed, we opened here. And Tuesday, when the market opened, we opened all the way down here. Almost, what is that? Like a 25, almost like a 1% move to the downside, which is actually pretty significant overnight for that to happen, because usually in the middle of the day, the most likely move is a 0.5% to a 1% in either direction. That's usually kind of how the market is every day, a 0.5% to 1%. And you have occasional days where you have anomalies and it's 5-6% up directions, etc. So I'm going to go over, first you had this 2 ATR move in my analysis, a complete 2 ATR move. You can't really see the 2 ATR move here, so I like to switch back and forth between the SPX and the SPY, because the SPY, if I pull up the chart, it gives you a way better Bollinger Band and ATR and being able to read it. It's more legible on the SPY. See, as you can see right here on the SPY, it gives you a clear 2 ATR move to the downside. Clear as day. 2 ATR move to the downside. Now let's go back to the SPX because that's what I was trading. And as you can see here, I'm going to go over this line right here, this 470, 4,755, this 4755 area is extremely important. And I determined this line at the beginning of the day once we had seen this 2 ATR move. And the way that I identified it was I went back to the previous day and I was looking for resistance of where the market could retrace to. Because usually when you have a gap down, that already is kind of like a signal for a bearish day, but that's also not your confirmation. My confirmation was a 2 ATR move that it was going to continue to be bearish throughout the day. So then what did I look for? And if you can see right here, 447.55 and some change is where we had major support from the previous day. Well, from the previous week, I'm sorry, on Friday. We found support here. We now opened, as you can see, we opened below previous support. So what does that become? Resistance. So before the market even got here, I already had this line because I was assuming that it was going to be a bearish day. The market was going to retrace and it was going to continue bearish. That was my edge and my thesis and in my analysis to be able to execute these trades. Those are how I'm thinking and how I'm able to execute these trades. So once we had this 2 ATR move to the downside, we had a retrace, almost a 2 ATR retrace that's insignificant. And when we started seeing this breaking down here, we had one entry here. Our entry here was at 470.55. So we got it up here. We were selling these contracts. We were selling the 475. So as long as it never got to 47.55, we made money. As long as it didn't close above that, we made money. And then as you can see here, I saw the market was getting weak, getting weak, getting weak, doing nothing, getting weak, getting weak. And it's about 5 points away from my resistance area. So I entered a second time. This was my second entry. Oops. This was my second entry right here. And as you can see, I got in here, and immediately after that, we saw a reaction to the downside. That was my confirmation that this is an area of resistance. This 470.50 was an area of resistance. What do we get? We get a complete retrace all the way up to this 470.55. Perfect, perfect, perfectly. Didn't even touch it, and it completely looked away. It got close. 47.54. It's a couple points shy. Basically, hit that on the nudge. Perfect area of resistance. I didn't have another entry here because I had already had one here. And I really haven't done 3 entries. I usually only do 2 entries on my trade. And then as you can see, after we got to this resistance, the market never looked back. And we went all the way down and we faded. And this is what the market likes to do always. What you're going to see is this 2 ATR move to the downside on a gap up. What you're waiting for after that is a retrace. You don't know where that retrace is going to be. So you kind of go based off of previous support and resistance intraday from the previous days, which was exactly what I did. And I was able to identify this level of resistance before it even got close to here. I was able to identify this within the first 45 minutes of the day. I was able to identify this resistance, this thesis, and this idea of how I was going to trade. And it's exactly how I profited. This is exactly where we took profit, and then the rest of it's history. We took profit, and then the market continued lower. Coming into the last couple of minutes, it ripped up, pretty insignificant. And if you go to the 5-minute time frame, just so you guys see what I'm looking at, you got to look at both time frames, the 2 and the 5, because they confirm each other. If you go to this 5-minute time frame, not once were we ever overbought. We were never overbought ever. And usually, if this is a pretty significant move, meaning it's going to reverse this gap down that it had, we would have seen strength on the RSI all the way above overbought. It would have surged above this overbought line here. It would have came back in, retested it, and then you would have just seen it like skyrocket. That's what I've seen at least. Whenever major areas are being broken, you need to see strength. You need to see overbought. You need to see momentum following up, and none of that was being confirmed to the upside at least. So this last move to the up was basically just to get all the people out of whatever trades they're in before they continue to do whatever they were going to do, which it did the deed. And that's how we had 2 entries and a very good winning day. And what we're going to do is we're going to get straight into the what can we learn section. The what can we learn section of this video is pretty simple. Create an idea, create a thesis like a scientist, follow it through, and see what happens. This is why we paper trade. We're trying to figure out if we know what we're doing or not. We're trying to put it all together, all these ideas, all these thoughts, all these theses, and we're trying to profit off of it. The goal and the objective is not to win. It's to be profitable. And you could be profitable without even winning. Hence, example here. All I did was look for a level that the market would stay away from, and I sold into that. I sold into that strength, and the market sold off into that strength as well. So all I did was I hopped on the train. I hopped off of the train with some extra chilings in my pocket, and we were good to go. There really isn't much to learn today. I think I kind of covered just about everything. Work on your entries, work on your exits, and always take profits at whatever mile markers and milestones that you have to take profit, whether that's 10% profit, 50% profit, 100, whatever your numbers are. Always take profits because the market doesn't continue in your direction forever. So, Mr. Chris, you have any preguntas? Comments, concerns?
Not necessarily. Just took down a lot of notes. An interesting point was the gap down. Honestly, I hadn't seen that before. You told me earlier I was actually gonna was gonna catch my attention today. So the gap down, which means you said it meant bearish.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that it's
It's
your
going to
confirmation.
continue bearish. It's not
Yeah.
a confirmation.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much it. Everything else is just the entries that you took today.
The thesis was pretty straightforward
That's it.
today because I was able to be home and trade. When I'm able to be home and trade, it's so much easier.
It's the best.
It's so much easier. But yeah, guys, remember and potentially get some gains. Potentially get some gains. And potentially get some gains. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Discord is in the link below. Remember to come check us out in the Discord. Any questions, comments, concerns about your trading? I'm an open book, willing to answer. I may not know everything, but I will answer it the best way I can. I really appreciate everything that keeps going. It seems like we're going in the right direction, and I look forward to making better content for all of you guys, whether that's trading related, adventure wise, whatever it is. You guys are gonna get just about a piece of just about all of our lives.
Yes, sir.
Anything, Mr. Chris?
Remember, we're always on TikTok. We're also always on Instagram.
That's important. That's
And like
important.
I said, if you guys have any questions, my boy Nick doesn't know it all, but he definitely can help you guys out in every aspect. So
All right, and potentially get some gains.
and potentially get some gains.
See you guys in the next one. Deuces.